everybody, JC here with another TNI toy review. And today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, we're going to finally be taking a look at the new Marvel Legends Infinite Series Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure from Hasbro Toys. Now this is the Build-A-Figure for the third wave of Avengers Legends, which we've been looking at for the past week. You've got to get all 7 figures in the wave in order to be able to complete this Build-A-Figure. So there's basically 7 different pieces. We've got the 2 legs, the 2 arms, the head, the lower torso, and the upper torso, which comes in 2 different pieces, but comes with the same comes with the Blizzard figure, and you just got to snap them together. But there's 7 pieces total, and so you have to get all 7 figures in the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure wave in order to complete this figure. Okay, so let's put this together and take a look at it. Okay, so here's the figure fully assembled and put together. Now before I really delve into this review, I just want to clear up a few misconceptions that I've been seeing online and answer a few questions that you guys keep asking. So the first question you guys continually keep asking recently is, how do I get these figures so early? So the answer is not from Hasbro. I do not get these figures from Hasbro. In fact, it is a general rule from Hasbro that they do not send out product samples for review to any site. I wish that wasn't the case, but that is in fact how it is with Hasbro. Now, yes, other companies do sometimes send out product samples to us. That does happen from time to time, some more than others. In fact, whenever you see a review on the sites or by me, if it is a product that's sent by a toy company, you will actually hear us say this was sent by the company, or they'll be in the credits, like Pixel Dan, he runs credits at the end of his videos. So you'll see if it's a product sent to him by a toy company, he will notate that in the credits. Or Shartimus Prime or myself will say this comes from the toy company or something along those lines. In fact, it's a requirement that states that if a company sends you a product to review, you actually have to state that in the review that it was provided by that company, just so that you are aware and informed that the product that's being reviewed was sent by the company. But in the case of Hasbro, these do not come from them. I buy these figures just like you do. In fact, I actually pay a little bit more sometimes to get these figures early so that I can provide you with a review. I don't pay like thousands of dollars or something outrageous like that, but to get them early sometimes I do have to pay a bit more. I've been doing this, I've been running these sites and covering toy news for about 15 years now. And so over the years I've just made contacts, I know people, and I just know how to get these figures. So they come from, many times from various places, various sources. But again, with these figures, I'm purchasing them just like you do. I'm telling you that for a reason, because first of all, you keep asking where I'm getting them. And, and just to be clear, the reason why I purchase these to get them early is not because I feel like I'm special to get figures early or anything like that. If I was just a regular collector, I would have no problem waiting to pick them up at my Toys R Us. But as a toy reviewer, as someone who runs a toy news site, I feel it's important to get these products early and get reviews up of them and give you images and looks at them and everything, so that you, as the consumer, can make a informed decision about whether you actually want to buy this figure or not when you actually find it on the shelves. I understand some of you watch these reviews just for entertainment purposes, and that's fine. But still, for me, it's important to get these up early so that you have you can make an informed decision about whether you want to buy it or not. So if I had to wait for it to come to my Toys R Us, and I got it posted 3 months after a review of it, 3 months after you've already seen it and bought it, to me that kind of defeats the whole purpose of a review. And of course, I can't always get them in advance. Sometimes, you guys have it before I do. That's just the way it happens. The Ant-Man Legends, for instance. I still haven't gotten that wave yet. On products that we do get sent from toy companies, generally I send those to the guys like Pixel Dan and Shartimus Prime. Those guys are better reviewers than I am. I have no problem admitting to that. Those guys that's all they do is toy reviews, and they've been doing it for 7+ years, and they're just better at it. So generally, if there is a product that's sent to us, then I have them sent to those guys. Now, those guys aren't, the second reason why I'm basically telling you this is because I want you to know, and I want you to believe this, that when I tell you a figure is good, that's my honest opinion. You may not agree with my opinion, which is perfectly fine, but I want you to know that I'm giving you my honest opinion. I'm not trying to shill for free toys. I could care less about free toys, in the overall scheme of things. If you're trying to start a website or a YouTube channel or something, and your purpose for doing that is to get free toys, well, I'm here to tell you, you might as well stop now, because the amount of free toys you're going to get, even if you're like the best toy reviewer out there, is minimal and not worth the effort and the hard work you have to put in to become that good toy reviewer. So, all these guys, when I send them products to review, I tell them to be honest. Now, yes, I will tell them to focus on the positive more than the negative. I do think some of you out there are overly negative. You're almost like looking for ways to hate these figures, which is confusing to me. If you're collecting this stuff, I think you would be collecting it to enjoy it. These figures aren't perfect. This figure we're looking at right now, it's not perfect, but it is a good figure. So I just wanted to state that so we're clear, and that when you watch a review from me or any of the reviews on my sites, you're getting an honest review and the honest opinion of the reviewer. Again, that doesn't mean you have to agree with the reviewer, and we're not perfect, we make mistakes. So I just want you to know that. Okay, so getting back to this figure, which I know is what you all are actually watching this for. As I said, this is a really good figure. In fact, I would go as far as to say this is probably Hasbro's best Build-A-Figure ever to date, and probably one of the best all-time Build-A-Figures, including the early Toy Biz ones, like Galactus and the Sentinel and the Giant Man. This is a well-made figure. It's heavy, it's sturdy. We actually have some die-cast metal, I believe, in the parts, in the legs. This guy is not going to fall over. He is made to be a sturdy, tough, almost like tank of a figure. If there was any complaint with this figure, is that the paint applications, while not bad, they're not great. They're pretty basic paint applications. Okay, there's no real wash work on this figure, and with the gold parts, it's basically gold colored plastic for the most part. Yes, it would have been nice if they had used like a metallic or a vac metallized material for these gold parts. And if you're looking at this figure and comparing it to like a Hot Toys Hulkbuster or SH Figure Arts Hulkbuster, then you're going to be disappointed, because those figures look 10 times better than this one. But the difference is those figures are going to cost you in the neighborhood of $400, $800, or $1,000. And so if you're able to plop down that much money for an action figure, then by all means I would say go for it and bypass this and go get like the SH Figure Arts Hulkbuster. Because that one the detail is probably, I don't have that figure in hand, but I'm almost willing to guarantee you off the bat that figure is going to have more detail than this one. But this figure in its own right, a Marvel Legends figure, you basically have to buy 7 different figures, which are about $20 each. So that means you're basically paying $140. And that means you're getting 7 pretty decent Marvel Legend figures in their own right on top of this figure for basically $140. So it's not like you're just paying $140 just for this one figure. But really, this figure is not an expensive figure. So my one complaint is the paint applications are basic, especially with the gold. I don't think they're bad, but if I had to critique anything about this figure, that would be it. gold, vac metallized, or even just metallic paint for these gold parts would have been a little bit nicer. We kind of get the gold metallic paint on the faceplate. I think the faceplate looks pretty good, and you get that kind of glistening metal look on it. But for the rest, especially these parts on the arm, those definitely, when you look at it, you definitely see plastic. There's just no doubt about it. But other than that, I think the figure is great. The red parts, are pretty decent. I like the arc reactor in the middle. I think that looks pretty good. It's just sculpted in there. He's got the jets on the back, and again, the detail could have been a little nicer there with the jets. They're a little plain, again, with the gold plastic and such. But, again, not bad. Okay, so this figure stands at just shy of 9.5 feet. So he is definitely pretty tall. He is taller than the Age of Ultron Hulk figure, and the scale seems to be pretty good to me. Hulk is a little bit shorter than the Hulkbuster. So again, I think these two figures work pretty good with each other. He's definitely taller than the old Marvel Legends comic book based Hulkbuster figure. Here he is next to the Mark 43 Iron Man Age of Ultron figure. Now, one more thing I will say with the paint applications. I'm pretty sure that these figures should be the same color. And so the Age of Ultron Iron Man is a little bit darker red than the Hulkbuster Iron Man. I won't swear to that. Maybe they were a little bit different colors in the movie, but I'm pretty sure they were the same color. So, I do think maybe it would have been nice if they had matched the colors up between the two figures. Now, of course, in the movie, this figure actually fits inside this one, which is not a feature that, we get with this figure, understandably so. But one thing that you can kind of do, and it's not made to really do that, but the head is on a ball joint. The Hulkbuster head is on a ball joint. So if you want to take your head for your Iron Man figure and stick it on there and pretend that it's like the Mark 43 inside there, you can. It doesn't work perfectly. It fits a little loosely on there. But if you wanted to set it on your shelf or something, you can actually do that. Or you can use the alternate head with the popped up Tony Stark head. So just something to consider. Again, it's not made to do that. It's not really a feature for the figure, but just something I thought was kind of cool. And just for another size comparison, here he is next to the Lego Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure. Now, some of you had asked if we could do a comparison of this figure with the new Marvel Select Hulkbuster figure, the comic book Hulkbuster figure Marvel Select just released as a Marvel and Disney Store exclusive. Now, I don't actually have that figure in hand, unfortunately. Shartimus Prime is actually doing a review of that very figure today. So, again, as I mentioned, I have a lot of products sent to those guys, so I had that one sent to him. And so he's reviewing that one. So I don't have it to do an actual in-hand comparison, but I will tell you this figure is taller. I asked Shartimus how big the Marvel Select one was, and he said it was about 8.5 inches tall. So this one's got a good inch of height on that new Marvel Select one, if you were wondering. And we'll have a link in the description to the Shartimus Prime review of that Marvel Select Hulkbuster if you want to check that out. Okay, so articulation on this figure is pretty good, especially for a big figure like this and a big giant hulking mech suit. So first of all, the head is on a ball joint, as I stated before. It's on a ball hinge joint, actually. And so the head actually has pretty good movement, which probably isn't really movie accurate. I think Hasbro just put it on a ball joint to get, as an action figure to give it good movement. And so I do like that. So you can look left, you can look right, you can look down, and it can look straight ahead. Now, when you have it looking straight ahead, that neck joint does kind of become exposed, so it looks a little funny. Again, not really what I would say movie accurate, but if you want it to be more movie accurate, then I would suggest you just kind of keep it pushed in and not move it at the head. But as it is, for an action figure, I like that they've given it that extra movement there with the neck joint. So the arms are attached with your standard ball hinge joint, so he can get his arm out pretty good, and he's got good rotation at the arm. He's got a bicep swivel, and then single hinged elbow, so he can't bend his elbow too much, but again, for a figure like this, not too bad. And then the wrists are swivel hinges. Now he's got this piece that comes out over the hinge joint on the wrist, so he can't really do the hinges or the hands up, but he can get the hands down. So not too bad. He's got that midsection joint, so he's actually got good movement at the midsection. You can rotate, can kind of pivot to the left and to the right, and he can actually crunch down and look up quite good. So I like that. He's got, they're not quite ball hinge joints, but they basically work the same way here at the leg. So you can only do the splits about that much. But he can get his leg forward good, and he can get his leg backward good. He's got the thigh swivel. Now one thing I want to caution here with these, with the legs, is make sure you get these legs pushed in good to the pegs. These legs, as I mentioned before, are very heavy. They actually feel like they have some die-cast metal on them. So make sure you get them pushed in really good and so that they're securely fastened to the figure. Otherwise, when you pick it up, you're going to find that those legs are just going to drop off with the weight. But once you do get them snapped firmly into place, they do hold tight on the figure. So as I said, he's got the thigh swivel, then he's got a single hinged knee, but you know, he can actually bend his knee pretty good. And then he actually has ankle pivots, though like with most of the Iron Man figures, the armor comes down over the joint, so it does limit some of the movement of the ankle, but you can actually move his foot much better than most Iron Man figures. So you can swivel it left and right, and you can kind of pivot to the left and to the right, not a whole lot, but you know, again, better than most Iron Man figures. And then he's got two little peg holes on the bottom of his feet, which I don't really know why he doesn't need them, but he does have them. So that's my view. So as I said, I think this is one of the best, or probably the best Build-A-Figure Hasbro's done to date. Good weight, good articulation, you know, looks good. Paint applications are on the very basic side, unfortunately, but again, compared to everything else, I still think this is a very good figure. And coming in a very, what I would consider to be a pretty strong wave of Marvel Legend figures. So, you know, you're getting 7 pretty good Marvel Legend figures, you know, on top of the pieces to put this guy together. And the scale, I think, is pretty good. So overall, I think this is a great figure. I really love it. And I think, you know, if you're a Marvel Legends collector and you pass on this, I think you're going to be sorry down the road. So that's my review. This wave should start hitting shelves by no later than mid-August, but again, I think because the Ant-Man Legend figures have started to hit early, I think we'll start seeing this wave possibly next month. There'll be a full gallery of images for this figure over at marvelousnews.com. There's a link in the description below for that. As I said, we'll also have a link to Shartimus Prime's review of the Marvel Select Hulkbuster figure that just came out as well in the description of this video. So if you haven't checked that out, be sure you do. And as always, you know, leave a comment, let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.